Hello, hello, Chessies all over the world. It's great to be here with you. Of course, we're doing another Hallmark Channel live virtual event celebrating season 5 of Chesapeake Shores. You guys know the drill at this point. I'm Deidre Behar from Entertainment Tonight. Always a joy to be here with you. And today I'm really excited. I think this is going to be a really fun one. We've got the newest addition to the shore, Evan Kincaid himself, Rob Buckley. Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for making time. You have been such a wonderful, fun addition to Chesapeake Shores. And I want to get into all things Evan, all things season 5. But before we get started, I just want to acknowledge, it's obviously been quite a roller coaster year. I see you're still at home. I'm still at home. How are things going for you?
Has it been a weird year? I have to admit.
What?
Well, first of all, thank you for asking. I'm doing well. It's been an interesting year. I think, like it has been for a lot of us, a lot of change, which there's a lot of growth. So that's a good thing. But we're happy and healthy, so no complaints. We're getting by.
What has gotten you through the last year? Has there been like a new hobby, a new discovery, something that you've really leaned into?
Oh, I would love to have an answer like I learned a new language for you, but I don't. I watched 15 seasons of Survivor. I
That's
mean,
incredible.
I guess we could say I've learned new ways of self-care.
Here you go. Yeah, binge a good show, relax, hang out with your family. I'm happy to hear that you're smiling and everybody's doing well. I want to dive right in because, like I said before, Evan is a trip, man. Like the minute we meet him on that hoverboard, I just feel like he breathes such a fun new energy into this show. So, you're the new guy on the block. What was it like joining Chesapeake Shores, a show that's been around for a couple seasons, and you being the new guy?
Yeah, it's a lot like changing schools your senior year. Like
God.
in that I was the only new person like joining a group of people who knew each other very well. Like I was like I'm walking into inside jokes, friendships. So that's nerve-wracking. Also, I'm joining a show that's already successful. So there
Mhm.
is that part of my brain that's like, boy, if the show doesn't do well now, like you're the only new piece of the
All on
puzzle,
you.
guy. Little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
But everyone was incredibly warm and welcoming and friendly, which sort of led to it being this easy transition and then just a great season. It was a fun shoot.
Okay, I'm glad that you're using words like fun and easy because that's how I feel when I'm on the couch. Like I can just put on Chesapeake Shores and just relax and enjoy and smile. And a huge reason that I was smiling during Sunday's episode was when we met Evan. So I want to know we know that he's an eccentric billionaire,
Mhm.
but I want to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about him and how does he fit in Chesapeake Shores?
Well, clearly, one thing we know about Evan is the guy can pull off a helmet. All right. I was so nervous about that. Let me just be very honest for a second. That my first two scenes I was in, I was wearing safety helmets. And I
Correct.
was like, you know what? This is classic leading man. Have you ever seen a Brad Pitt movie where he's not in a safety helmet?
Right. Same with
Um,
George Clooney. It's kind of like a staple thing.
yeah, but I remember thinking to myself, like, you know what? If the audience can get on board with me and this guy in helmets on the first time we meet him, like, we're gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right. So I think, audience, if you're hanging in there, like, it's only gonna get better from here.
100%. Well, we know that he absolutely has got the helmet thing on lock.
Mhm.
What do you like about this guy? What qualities about Evan were most exciting to you to channel as you brought him to life?
One of the things I really enjoyed was I think he has a genuine curiosity about life,
Mhm.
and he's constantly wanting to try new things, learn new things, explore. I really appreciate the fact that it seems he takes his work very seriously, but he does not take himself very seriously. I know that that's something that like in my real life, I try to apply that to myself as well. I think that's a great work ethic, a great ethos.
Mhm.
And, because what that does is like, it just allows for all of this room for, kind of like spontaneity and just excitement and fun. And that's sort of what he is like. He's kind of like the ride. You don't know where it's going to go, but like, you feel safe going on it and you're probably going to have a good time. So why not?
Of course. And I mean, I feel like you're a really happy, lighthearted kind of guy. Do you see little parts of Rob in Evan?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Not only do I see, yes, I do. I see little parts of myself in him. I think he's a guy who has not lost his inner child. And I
Mhm.
think that's something that I can relate to. I think I have a natural playfulness and silliness. Like I kind of joke and I say like silly's my brand. Like I do not take myself seriously. I love to make myself, look a fool if it makes me laugh, or like I love making my wife laugh purely at my own expense. And so that's something I love about Evan is like he's not really too concerned with what other people think. You
Right.
know, he's just having
Totally.
fun.
Now we've seen this kind of like working relationship blossom between Mick and Abby and Evan. And of course, anybody tuning in who's a fan of yours, who's a fan of Treat Williams, they'll know that this is like a really cool reunion between the two of you. You've obviously shared the screen before. So tell me a little bit about your relationship with Treat and what has it been like sharing the screen yet again?
It's been so much fun. We really hit it off on the Christmas house. We
Yeah.
just like right from the jump, we bonded, we clicked. It was very easy with us. And again, he's kind of the same way where it's like he takes his work seriously, but he doesn't take himself too seriously. So like we would do a take, but as soon as they called cut, we were laughing like two kids. And so I really enjoyed the work with him on that one. And then he's actually the first person who reached out to me about the potential of me joining Chesapeake Shores. True story. That whole thing started with a text from Treat Williams at 10:15 at night, literally hitting me with the "You up?" And I was like, I know this man lives on the East Coast. If Treat Williams is sending me a "You up" text at 10:15 my time, there
It's
is some
good.
tea about to be spilled. And that was the first conversation about like, hey man, there might be something, there might be news coming your way, and if it does come your way, we should talk about it because it would be really, really cool. So he had a big part in it.
Wow. I mean, what does that mean to you to know that you have actor friends like Treat Williams who think so highly of you, who put their name on the line and say, I vouch for this guy, I want him on my show. How did you react when you found out?
Oh, come on. How does that not make you feel so good?
Mhm.
When someone, I think in any field that you respect or admire, goes to bat for you, that feels great.
Wow.
And Treat, I really respect his opinion. So the fact that, he went to the bat hard for me, it made me feel great. And I'm very appreciative of him for doing so.
I love that. And look, when we did our last live conversation with your co-star Megan Ory, she had,
Mhm.
of course, amazing things to say about him. That he'll bust into Grease musical, moments in between filming, and she did tease that there's going to be a little a worm moment at some point in season 5. I don't know if you can share details of that, but I want to know what is it like being on set with someone like Treat Williams? What's something that happens behind the scenes that we don't get to see?
I'm just still wondering what this worm moment is. I guess I'll be surprised along with the audience. What is it like being on set with Treat? It is so much fun, because it's this fun combination of doing the work and having a moment of actually being able to like between like if we have a heavy scene, we play it and they call cut, and while they're adjusting something, being like looking at it and being like, hey, does that work? Or do you want me to should we switch anything up? Like, because I value his opinion. He has great instincts. He obviously is a very, very talented actor. So
Mhm.
this moment of professionalism and like asking for his opinion, and then it's like as soon as that passes, immediately going to like a stupid dad joke. So it's this great balance of like professionalism and juvenile humor.
Do you have one of those I'm sorry, do you have one of those dad jokes offhand that you could share?
Oh my gosh, no. If I think of one, I'm
Right.
terrible at having jokes memorized. If I don't repeat it within like if I read it and I don't repeat it within 5 minutes, I might as well have never read it.
Okay, fair enough. If one comes to mind, please share because I do love a good dad joke.
Mhm.
Now, we talked a little bit about Treat Williams, of course, Mick, going to be in business with Evan, and we've got his daughter, Abby, kind of at the helm of it. I really loved that scene where Your character very astutely said, I want you to be the point person because I know you're not going to put on a facade. I know that you're going to keep it real with me and tell me things that I don't necessarily want to hear, but are going to be best for the long run. So, going off of that dynamic, what can you tell me about the Evan and Abby working relationship as it stands right now?
Well, I mean, as it stands right now, it has just begun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if Abby had her druthers, she would not be in this working relationship. I feel like Evan is a very big fish that the company kind of needs to have right now. So her
Mm-hmm.
hands are a bit tied. She's been sort of forced into this. Um, but I think it's a great example of Evan's business acumen as well as his playfulness.
Mm-hmm.
He spots something rare in her, which is she's not charmed or impressed with sort of the trappings of my lifestyle. In fact, she seems to take enjoyment in calling me out
Right.
and really hitting me like with the uncomfortable truth. So he realizes the value in that. So he's like, I definitely want to work with you specifically, right? But then I also think he does enjoy the fact that he just rubs her the wrong way. And so there is some fun to be had there. So I feel like he's not only choosing the right candidate for it, but he's also like, she's going to be great business. Also, this might be pretty fun.
Right. Well, you lead me to my next question. I feel like sometimes in the best way, opposites attract. And
Mhm.
even though I'm feeling like there's sort of a push pull dynamic between Abby and Evan right now, I'm really crossing my fingers and very hopeful that it could turn into something a little more. So, what can you tell us about that?
Well, I think one thing about Evan, I had mentioned his natural curiosity, and I think
Mm-hmm.
he is fascinated by the O'Briens as a family and what that looks like to be a member of a big family, because that's not something he had growing up. But I think one thing in regards to Evan and Abby specifically is that he's very curious about her and he's interested in her. And I think when someone takes the time to actually like get to know you
Mm-hmm.
and to see you, that is a pretty rare, special thing. So I feel like, this project is going to have them forced to be around each other a lot. So I think there is the potential for that kind of deeper connection, because I feel like Mick and Abby came into this with a preconceived notion of who Evan was because of his like larger than life wealth and business success. And what you see as they spend more time together is that they may have gotten it wrong. They may have sold him short.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed because, like I said before, I like that they kind of give each other the gears, and I'm hopeful that that could blossom into something more.
Mhm.
With that, I got to give you a compliment, Megan Ory. We love her so much. The two of you, just the chemistry, it's palpable in those scenes, and I feel like you guys really feed off each other so well. What has it been like working with Megan?
It has been an absolute blast. From the jump, the first day I met her in the makeup trailer, within like 2 minutes, we were cracking wise and just it was an easy conversation to have. Again, and she's kind of similar to Treat, where it's like she's a talented actor who takes the work seriously but does not take herself seriously, which means she is game to play, and whether that's in a scene or just keeping off like to kill time. And so it lends itself to it's this easy, fun dynamic where like we enjoy each other's company. And I think that translates to what you see on camera. Like there's a scene coming up. There's several scenes coming up where we really start to kind of go at it, and they were so much fun to film because it's sort of like each take you would do, we would each be trying new things to just annoy or aggravate or break the other person. And I think so now going back and starting to see these episodes, I'm like, I think it really enhances the scenes.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how heated are these scenes going to be between Evan and Abby?
They're gonna get, I mean, there's one thing I'm not gonna spoil that I would say would put that number very high. That
Okay.
the next couple of weeks. And outside of that, I would, things get pretty hot. Like I think in episode 6 or 7, they do some serious butting of heads.
Wow. All right. Look,
Well, are we expecting that though? Like, given how annoyed she was with him within 10 minutes of meeting him.
Yeah.
Didn't it sort of seem like that was the direction the train was heading in?
100%. And I feel like maybe we have to go through some of these explosive moments in order to get to the other side where maybe they could start to blossom a little more romantically. Because I do love that at the end of the day, they're very different, but I think they complement each other in many, many ways. And I cannot wait to see how that storyline unfolds. But I want to talk a little bit more about Evan. Are we going to find out how this guy became such an accomplished and well-to-do billionaire? Are we going to learn more about his backstory?
We are. But if I can just go back that last point you were saying,
Oh
one
yeah.
thing that kind of occurred to me was there's something really special about two people who may not really get along or like each other because
Mhm.
there's like zero people pleasing or codependency. And it's just two people like showing up as their authentic selves.
Right.
I think in terms of getting to know someone and actually forming a connection, that's probably the best place you can start from. Like if you think about dating, you show up on a date and you're like, here is the most polished version of myself with all of my baggage in the closet, right? And it takes a while to actually get to know someone, right? Where like in this case, they're like, I don't like you, you don't like me, you're just gonna get me at like my realist, you know? So like, isn't that a good place to start from if you're hoping to maybe see a relationship unfold?
I think we definitely could take a lesson or two from that. You know, less hype, less pretense. Let's be more authentic. Let's put all our cards out on the table, take it or leave it. Right now it feels like Abby and Evan kind of are on very different frequencies. They're operating on different frequencies. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they're working together, I'm really excited to see how they navigate these hurdles together, and learn each other's communication style. And I think, and this is what I'm hoping, obviously I'm not involved in the show or the production, but this is what I'm hoping as a fan, that because they're going to take the time to learn each other's communication styles, maybe they'll take the time to really learn to love and respect one another. And then that could blossom into something. Am I on to something?
I think you might be onto something. I also feel like given where Abby is at right now and her life and like where we found her at the start of this season and
Mhm.
where she's going, like she's not gonna get into a relationship unless it's something special.
Right.
Like she's just exiting out of something that was like long term and it was difficult. So I feel like she's kind of looking after herself right now. So like if it's not something really good that has really piqued her interest,
Yeah.
I don't think she's not gonna suffer any fools.
No, of course. And I love that she's such an amazing mom. She's an amazing career woman. She's really leaning into her hobbies, seeing her do Taekwondo. I mean, I
Right.
love that she's very much putting her own interests and herself first. And whatever happens romantically will just kind of be the icing on the cake.
And shout out to Megan Ory because in real life she does not practice Taekwondo, but I watched her learn some Taekwondo on the day for a scene, and she was shockingly good. Like natural ninja skill level. It was very impressive. She is a multi-talented woman.
She really is. Your whole cast, everybody is just so talented, and I'm really excited. That was a great tease, Rob. I'm very excited to see how this friction between Evan and Abby winds up kind of manifesting over the next few episodes. Let's pivot back. I want to just talk a little bit more about Evan. You had started to
Mhm.
sort of tease. Are we going to learn more about his backstory? I'm curious how he made his money. What his background is. Who has he dated in the past?
Yeah, I mean, we find out he made his money off of his Beanie Baby collection in the season finale. I was not supposed to spoil that, stupid Rob. Oh, we
Mine
were
are
talking
always
context
sorted.
time. Okay, pretend I didn't say that. Hit him. No, yes, we do find out how Evan made his money, and without giving away too much, basically, you really see that this is a guy who is kind of self-made. He
Mm.
really didn't have anyone sort of showing him the ropes or sort of handing him a business and being like, go ahead and run it. Like he's very self-made. He's very much done it on his own. So it's been sort of a lonely journey for him at this point.
Well, I think that'd be a perfect place for him to settle in Chesapeake Shores. It wouldn't be so lonely anymore, right? Bring a little. He's got the career on lock, but the personal life, I feel like we gotta flesh out, and where better to do that than Chesapeake Shores, right?
Yeah, and I think we see in this week's episode, you get a glimpse of it. Like you get a really good example of like, oh, he's got the money to buy a gorgeous mansion, and then it's like, yeah, but he's alone in it.
Right,
And it's
right,
sad.
right, right. Well, look,
Yeah.
in just episode 3, I believe, we saw you do miniature golf. You were on a hoverboard. You get driven around in a Tesla. It feels like it's really fun to play Evan. Can
Mhm.
you tease some more of the fun stuff that you got to do throughout season 5?
I can't. I mean, let's not forget that first episode. I got to rappel off the side of a
What
giant rock for my
was
first
that like
scene.
in real life? Where were you?
We were in a forest, and they just found a giant rock. It was literally my first day on set, and they're like, let's just throw the new kid in a helmet and a harness and dangle him off a giant rock.
So you were really, that wasn't like on a soundstage. You were really harnessed in on top of a rock on a mountain.
Yes. Now, was I safe? Completely.
Yes.
But it was actually, yeah, like just a giant rock in the middle of a natural park.
Wow.
Yeah. And
So
you know what? I did that stunt myself because I'm kind of like the Tom Cruise of the Hallmark Channel.
hats off to you. You made it look very real and very adventurous. I know you said you couldn't tell us too much, but is there a lot more fun in store for Evan, or is there like a moment that you're most excited for fans to see?
Oh man. Yeah, there are so many. There's some really there's some really fun moments between Evan and Abby coming up. I'm the second half of this season. There's just so much great stuff. The Fief Sutton and Mark Legan, who are the new head writers of the show, did such a good job with this dynamic, and there's so much play that we get to do. So there's one moment in particular. I don't want to spoil it, but I mean, I'm going to spoil it a little bit. It may involve some martial arts. Evan, Abby, and some martial arts. All I'm going to say. But that was an awesome scene to shoot, and it really sets up a lot of fun stuff in the wake of what happens.
Mhm.
There is a lot of great stuff with Mick. I mean, personally, I always love working with Treat, but also just the dynamic between Mick and Evan really changes. And there's a scene in the finale between the two of them. That's a really was a special scene where I think Mick learns a lot about Evan, but I think the audience will really get a glimpse into who Evan is and why he is the way he is. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to.
So I know you're going to share a lot of scenes with Megan Ory and with Treat Williams, but
Mhm.
are we going to see you in scenes with the other O'Briens?
I hope. Well, I can't say yes, but like
Okay.
going forward, I would hope for even more.
Okay. I know your chemistry with Megan and with Treat has been off the charts, but I have to imagine that that great on-camera chemistry is fostered by an amazing bond off screen. Can you share like any fun cast bonding activities that you guys were able to do? I know obviously it was a weird year and there were a lot of protocols on set, but did you guys have a chance to do anything really fun off camera?
Yes, when I first got up to where we were to the location, it was my 40th birthday. So like I'm away from my home, away from my wife. I haven't met any of the cast met yet, and Treat threw me a birthday party and like invited all of the cast, and so like I got to have like a 40th, like such a dad move, right? He went out and got me a cake and everything. It was the sweetest thing. But that was a really nice bonding exercise. And then just having fun. There's a scene down the road where Evan and Abby are eating hamburgers, just talking. And this is one of the reasons why I love Megan so much, is that again, we're always just trying to make each other laugh and just have fun. And as we're shooting, we shoot the master, like, so it's both of us in it, and we're playing the scene the way it is. And then we go to shoot my coverage, and on the first take, I'm like talking or something, I'm looking down, and as I look up at her, she just has ketchup all over her face. Like she went to take a bite of her burger and like just literally had smeared ketchup everywhere. But I'm trying to do this take not laughing hysterically, because at the end of the scene I'm supposed to be like, oh, you have a little ketchup on your chin, and like wipe it off, and she literally has just chunks of ketchup. And so stuff like that, where it's just like keeps you on your toes, keeps you laughing, keeps the work fun. That's one of the reasons it was such a blast to do.
Wow. I hope we get a blooper reel. I need to see that ketchup scene.
Yes, you and me both.
And then I got to talk to you about the finale. I know that your lips are obviously sealed for the most part, but in past lives with your co-stars, I've heard terms like jaw-dropping, unexpected. Megan Ory said if anybody predicts what happens in the finale, they're a psychic and she would like to meet them, because it totally went over her head and seemingly everybody else's. So I'm curious if you can offer your best cryptic tease for the big season 5 Chesapeake Shores finale.
If I had to sum it up in a word, that word would be wow.
Really? Was that your reaction when you read the script?
Yeah. And I think wow is also perfect because it's kind of cryptic. It's like, is that a good wow? Is that a bad wow?
And you're not going to tell us which wow you meant, right?
No, because much like the finale, I'm trying to be mysterious and vague, I'm trying to keep you on the edge of your seat.
Okay, so we'll just leave it with a simple wow, an ambiguous wow.
Not like an Owen Wilson, like wow, like a wow.
Hey, that was a pretty good Owen Wilson.
Thank you.
I love that. Look, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I know the Chessies are. We would all love to see a season 6 of Chesapeake Shores. If you could fish your wish, if you could design any sort of a fun plot point for Evan moving forward, like what would be your dream storyline or something to tackle on the show?
Wow, what would be a dream?
And confirm, are you down for a season 6?
100%.
Okay, good.
100%.
Good.
I was already talking about the season 6 before we wrapped season 5.
Oh, good.
Like, it was one of those jobs where you're like, okay, cool. What do we have to do to make sure this keeps happening?
Yeah, you seem like you're having the time of your life.
Yes, it was a blast to do. Listen, the writers did such a good job having me do fun stuff. I mean, the hoverboarding was I was 40 years old learning, a skill designed for 14-year-olds.
You were a natural. You were a natural. Did that require a little bit of practice?
Yes, and I'll never forget this. Truly, they're like, go on YouTube, just because of course they're like, do you have any experience on a hoverboard? I'm like, no. Again, I'm 40, so I don't miss that by a couple decades, guys. And they're like, just go on YouTube. We'll drop off one to your hotel room. So there's like, I sent these videos to my wife because I'm in like a helmet. Again, what's with me and helmets? I'm in a helmet, elbow pads, knee pads, wrist guards. I even put my the bite guard I wear at night so I don't grind my teeth. I have that in, and I'm like watching a YouTube video. I'm like, I Google like YouTube, like how do I hoverboard? Every video is hosted by some 14-year-old kid named Cody. So I feel like such a boomer. But yeah, I spent like 2 weeks just like hovering back and forth in my hotel room so that I didn't die in my first week of shooting, and leave the show high and dry.
Listen, I think you made millennials and Gen Zers around the world proud with what you did there on that hoverboard.
Yes.
And look, before I let you go, and I, of course, want to encourage everybody, tune in Chesapeake Shores Sundays, 8 p.m. on Hallmark Channel. I would be remiss to have you here, Rob, and not ask you about a very special anniversary that's coming up next year. I don't know if you're quite aware, but next year will mark the 10-year anniversary since the finale of One Tree Hill. And as a devoted fan myself, and I know a lot of people who are watching you on Chesapeake Shores, they fell in love with your work as an actor from One Tree Hill. Are there conversations about doing something fun with the cast or reuniting to celebrate this milestone?
Listen, never say never. The cast really gets along. Like, they have these One Tree Hill conventions where we all sort of get to like reunite and hang out, and we always have a blast. And some of us have got to work together again, like in side projects and our movies and stuff. And it's always fun. So I think the opportunity is there, so I think, is there a chance? I do. I don't know when that would happen, but I wouldn't say like, oh, that's never going to happen. No, I think there's a chance.
Are you someone who would want to do like a reunion special where it's, you guys sitting on a couch, catching up, sharing favorite memories? Or is there part of you that would love to revive that character and that show and kind of bring it back to life for a new generation to fall in love with?
That's a good question. I mean, a reunion type thing would always be fun because, again, it's a group of people that like we like to hang out. Like we enjoy each other's company. So like, yeah, sure, you want to put us on a couch and have us talk about ourselves for an hour and a half?
Okay, you're down.
That's not a big ask, As for rebooting the show or like kind of just continuing the character arc, I think if there was an angle that worked, I think if the story was there, then there's a real possibility of like, why not, but it wouldn't, but if there wasn't a really good story to tell, then I feel like we left it in a really good place. Do we want to revisit it if it's not going to be the same quality? you know?
Yeah. Well, I think knowing how talented you and the rest of the cast is, you guys would never ever do anything that would compromise the quality or the integrity of the show. Totally respect your honest answer there. I think we would love to see Clay once again in 2021 or 2022. But I agree, it would have to be something smart and something that excites you. I'm going to ask you this last question before we go. Since you said you are still, really tight with the cast of One Tree Hill, if you could take someone from that cast and give them a fun arc on Chesapeake Shores, who would you most want to work with again?
Wow. Wow. That's a great question. So points for you. Listen, I mean, it feels like asking a parent to choose, like, well, which of your kids is your favorite?
Yeah.
But if I had to say someone, I would give James Lafferty the arc. But here's why.
Mm-hmm.
That dude still owes me $25 and he has yet to pay. And I would like to get him on set so I could corner him and get my money back. James, you still owe me money, you mooch.
Was this a bet? What happened with the $25?
No, he just said, can I have, can you spot me at lunch at Chipotle? And I was like, for sure. And then it cost $25. First of all, James, who's ordering $25 worth of food from Chipotle? Weird, right? That's an obscene amount of Chipotle.
That's a lot of guac.
He makes me foot the bill and then never even pays me back.
So we got to get him to Chesapeake Shores simply for the fact that you need your $25 back.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be like, oh, because he's such a good actor. I'm like, yeah, sure, that too. But Daddy needs his $25 back, okay, guys?
Okay, so you're down to have James revisit. Can you give me like a real answer now? Who would you want to see? Who do you think would fit into the Chesapeake Shores landscape?
Oh, I think all of them could. I truly, like, I can't picture one person who wouldn't fit in. I mean, you know what? I'd love to see Antoine do an arc. That guy brings so many surprises and so much fun with him, and I love his choices. So sure, I'd love to see Tuan come down to the shores and do an arc.
I love it. I love it so much. I'm such a huge fan of yours. Thank you so much for your time. Is there any last message that you want to leave the Chessies with?
No, but thank you for watching. I hope you like the rest of the season. We're all really proud of it.
Amazing. Everybody, please, again, make sure you tune into Chesapeake Shores Sunday nights, 8 p.m. on Hallmark Channel. And if you're on Twitter, make sure you join us for some fun over there. We live tweet the show. Of course, use the hashtag Chessies. Rob Buckley, always a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.